Welcome to Frost and Sullivan's Growth Podcast. In this episode, we examine the next phase of surgical robotics innovation and the technologies making robotic-assisted surgery more intelligent, integrated, and accessible. Hospitals and ambulatory surgical centers are looking for solutions that can reduce ownership costs, improve operating room efficiency, and simplify increasingly complex surgical workflows. In response, surgical robotics is moving toward miniaturized platforms, connected operating rooms, AI-enabled planning, semi-automation, and specialized systems designed around specific procedural needs. These developments are changing where robotic surgery can be deployed, how surgical teams interact with technology, and where medical device companies can create new value. Let's examine the shifts shaping this next phase of surgical robotics.
Surgical robotics enters a new innovation cycle.
Surgical robotics is moving beyond the large fixed platforms that have characterized much of the industry's development. The next generation is increasingly being designed around the practical requirements of hospitals and ambulatory surgical centers. Miniaturization and portability can reduce operating room footprints and simplify deployment. AI-powered planning and semi-automation can support workflow efficiency and reduce surgeon cognitive burden. Single-port and natural orifice approaches are expanding opportunities for less invasive procedures and access to complex anatomy. Investment activity reflects this momentum. More than $500 million in private funding during 2024 and 2025 targeted areas, including novel robotic platforms, improved clinical outcomes, and technologies designed to reduce surgeon cognitive burden. The competitive landscape is therefore shifting towards systems that address the complete surgical workflow.
Smaller platforms could expand the addressable market.
Miniaturization represents one of the most important technology shifts underway. Surgical robots are moving towards smaller, modular, and portable architectures that require less operating room space and can be easier to move between surgical environments. That matters particularly for ambulatory surgical centers. As minimally invasive procedures and same-day discharge expand, ASCs require robotic platforms that can fit within smaller operating rooms while supporting efficient setup and utilization. Companies are already pursuing different approaches. Virtual Incision's Mira reflects the move toward miniaturized, table-mounted robotic systems, while CMR Surgical's Versius Plus combines modularity and portability with integrated visualization. The opportunity for technology developers is to make robotic-assisted surgery viable across a broader range of care environments.
The operating room is becoming an integrated digital environment.
Another major change is happening around the robot itself. Robotics is increasingly converging with imaging, navigation, surgical planning, and data analytics. Instead of operating as isolated technologies, these capabilities are beginning to form connected surgical workflows spanning planning, guidance, procedural execution, and analysis. Integrated operating room architectures can reduce reconfiguration time, improve procedural consistency, and provide surgeons with more coordinated information throughout a procedure. Johnson & Johnson MedTech's Otava illustrates this direction through an integrated operating table architecture designed to minimize operating room footprint. As these ecosystems develop, interoperability and workflow value could become important sources of competitive differentiation.
AI and specialized instruments are extending surgical capabilities.
Intelligence is also becoming a larger part of the surgical robotics value proposition. AI-enabled planning can support clinical decision-making and workflow optimization, while semi-automated capabilities have the potential to reduce procedural variability and surgeon cognitive burden. At the same time, robotic platforms are incorporating wristed microtools and procedure-specific instruments capable of finer manipulation within complex anatomy. These micro-dexterity capabilities could extend robotic assistance into microsurgery and specialized procedures that require particularly high levels of precision and control. The next competitive frontier could therefore be shaped by how effectively platforms combine robotic precision with intelligence, specialized instrumentation, and workflow integration.
Scalable adoption will depend on solving the operational equation.
Technology innovation alone will not determine the future of surgical robotics. High ownership costs remain a significant barrier, particularly for smaller hospitals and ambulatory surgical centers. Reprocessing, sterilization, calibration, and docking requirements can add complexity and reduce operating room throughput. Cybersecurity and data protection requirements are also adding new considerations to procurement and deployment. For the industry, this creates a clear strategic priority. The next phase of growth will depend on reducing operational friction while demonstrating measurable clinical and workflow value. Smaller systems, interoperable surgical ecosystems, sterilization-friendly designs, integrated digital platforms, and intelligent workflow capabilities all create opportunities to address these challenges. The companies that successfully combine clinical innovation with practical deployment economics will be better positioned to expand robotic-assisted surgery into the next generation of care environments.
Thanks for joining us on Frost & Sullivan's Growth Podcast. Surgical robotics is entering a new phase defined by miniaturization, intelligence, workflow integration, and greater accessibility. As hospitals and ambulatory surgical centers look for platforms that improve surgical performance while addressing cost and operational complexity, the opportunity for technology developers will increasingly lie in designing solutions around the complete surgical environment. For access to our research, competitive benchmarking, and best practice frameworks, head over to frost.com or email transformation.growth@frost.com. We'll be back soon with more to help you stay clear-headed and growth-ready.